Coach, how are we feeling about the season?
Pretty good. We got guys healthy. We got guys training, ready to go. Our weight management's been really good. So obviously, I think our wrestle-offs were good. I mean, generally, guys look like they're out there prepared, and obviously, it's getting a lot more competitive now. So fun to watch.
What were your biggest takeaways about them from that wrestle-off?
I don't know, takeaways. I think in general, I think that we're seeing the competitiveness is definitely getting a lot higher than it was. And then in general, I'm seeing the guys that should be separating themselves are separating themselves. So I think that those are all really good signs that things are going the direction that you kind of want. So.
When you look at a guy like Swiderski, you know, we talked a lot about, you know, his explosiveness, how emotional he is when he's out there. You know, that's what we love about him. How do you get him to hone it in? You know, he was very, expressive at the wrestle-offs, which is it can be a good thing and it can be a bad thing. How do you get someone like Swiderski to kind of like tighten it up as we move forward?
I think you just teach them. You teach them like, hey, number one, this isn't acceptable. You know, this is real. And I know in that setting, sometimes it feels like practice a little bit. And in practice, that sort of stuff happens all the time, right? Maybe you get upset, maybe you throw your headgear. But the reality is that you got to treat it like it's real. You know, it's pretty darn close to real because you got fans. I mean, it's about as real as it gets. And we can't operate that way. That's not how this program operates, and he knows this, so this isn't going to be a surprise to him. You go out there, win or lose, you sit in the center and you get your hand raised, you watch the other guy get his hand raised. And then you walk off the mat, you take your medicine, and you move forward. And that's really how it has to be. Just because that's how we want to represent ourselves as a program, but also because that's just part of growing up. And at the end of the day, you're not always going to thanks, brother. You're not always going to get what you want. And so there's a balance for him. It's all right. Like you said, the passion's good. You should care. You should be upset when you lose. But we just got to fine-tune that.
How big has it been, for 133, 141, 149, those guys, that's really where, from our side, we're really looking at to see who's going to set themselves apart. Mm-hmm. Is there going to be a lot of movement from guys having to move up or down, or what's
I don't think anyone's there yet. I mean, here's the deal: is wrestle-offs, the way that I look at them, are just kind of like a data point. That doesn't guarantee anything. At the end of the day, there's a lot of factors that go into who's going to be the guy. There's a lot of things that change throughout the season, right? So maybe down the road here, maybe if guys want to start moving around, maybe something like that would happen, but I wouldn't expect it to happen just because you lost the first wrestle-off and you're like, well, screw it, I'm going to change weights,
Yeah.
So I would totally expect there to be some more wrestle-offs in the future to kind of sort out exactly who's going to be who,
So it's David's final season. He's been, your guy. You guys have had a lot of fun moments for us to watch. How are you feeling as his coach who's done so much with him and helped him grow? How are you feeling about this being his last season?
I mean, I'm excited. I don't know. Wrestling's a little different too because in general, he's got so much more future ahead of him too, right? So it's not like it doesn't feel like a farewell, you know what I mean? But I'm excited to see how he finishes up. Obviously, how last year finished up was not what he wanted.
Right.
So that excites me a little bit because you definitely know, you certainly, when a guy's winning, it's like, hey, is he going to hold that fire? Right? Is he going to hold that fire all the way through? Are we going to finish this thing? And I don't think you have to question whether that fire's there or not. It's there. He obviously not getting what he wanted helped. It was already there, but that's an extra added incentive to make sure that we show up every day, we work, and we're getting better every single day. I'm excited to see what he does. Obviously, this event is going to be really cool for him to go back to his hometown.
Talk about Younger's bump. What's he been like in the room?
Great. It's been really good. I think he's filling in really good to the weight class. I don't think he's lost any of his speed, any of his, all the wow that you see with Younger. He hasn't lost any of that, from what I can tell. If anything, it looks even better because, heavyweights are just a little bit slower, right? I think from him, it's definitely going to be, tactically, make a few adjustments. So making sure that, those guys are big, so maybe we don't need to pick them up all the time. Maybe we just go around him instead. But I'm really excited for him to go out there and compete. And he told me, he promised me, he said, Coach, you're going to see the real Younger now. He goes, before I was cutting weight, now I feel great. You will see the real Younger. So I'm excited to see the real Younger. You guys should too.
There's a lot of hype, around the program. I know we talk a lot about how you guys try not to focus on the rankings, but I mean, in the preseasons right now, you guys are coming in at number 10. A lot of people are really looking to see what can happen with this being David's last season, the guys you guys have brought in this summer. How are you feeling about this team's overall, ceiling going into the season?
I'm excited about it. I mean, we have a lot of really great athletes. We have a lot of really great wrestlers. We are still pretty young, though. I mean, we've got that balance of, like, we've got these veteran guys, but then we've also got a whole mess of guys that are young and kind of unproven. And by unproven, I mean literally maybe they haven't stepped on the mat yet, or maybe they had a couple matches last year, and we'll just, so I've had a lot of people ask me, not that you ever make predictions, but it's one of them deals where it's like, hey, I love what I see in the room, but you got to kind of play it by ear and see how it translates, because it's a long season. There's going to be a lot of teaching, a lot of bumps. You got to expect that these guys are going to hit rocky spots, just because you're training twice a day and you're making weight twice a week, and it's tough. And hopefully with your leadership, with David and Younger and those types, they can kind of help lead the way, because they've been there and done that before. So.
Talk about the ESPN news. You guys will have the first college wrestling duel on ESPN, and not to mention it's the Cyhawk duel.
Yeah.
What was it like learning that news, and I mean, how excited are you?
I think it's cool. Honestly, as a wrestling coach, I think you just prepare for the match.
Yeah.
I told someone earlier, like, I don't care if we do it in a dark alley somewhere. Like, I just want to go and beat those guys, So the fact that it's on ESPN, I think, is really cool. It's a great platform for us and for their program. It's a great platform for the sport of wrestling. So my hope is that we go out and put a really good show. Obviously, we want to win, but at the end of the day, I want the performances. I want our guys to go out there and compete their butts off, right? And then, we'll sort out what happens.
Last question for you. Who would you say is kind of a sleeper in the room? Who are we not paying attention enough to?
Oh, I think you had two sleepers that popped up, two Frost Bros. I didn't hear no one talking about them, right?
Yeah.
So an easy pickings would maybe be those two, They are what I would say your stereotypical Iowa guys. Now, they're from Louisiana, but they claim, Iowa, who are just hard-nosed, hard-working, under-the-radar kids. They probably weren't very much talked about, who just came in here for the past 2 years and just bust their butts and bust their butts and bust their butts and bust their butts. And, they went and won 2 wrestle-offs they weren't supposed to win, right? So, to me, that's exciting. That's, not picking favorites. It's just, it's cool to see guys come in and just keep their mouth shut and go to work. So we'll see. Obviously there's still a lot left to sort out those weight classes, and they've got to jump into the competition now and continue to do what they showed that they can do, which is score a lot of points. They've got a lot of great offense. They wrestle really hard. There's a lot of great things about those two brothers that the fans should love. And ironically, they are twins, but in every way. And like how much they're over every day, kind of their offense, their shots. So they will really enjoy watching them compete.
Awesome.